This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right. We are recording, so I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. We have 6 voting members, so I think we do have quorum to go ahead and meet today. Missing a couple. I don't think we have anybody from the public, unless anyone has anything public input.
Sorry, should have locked the door. Go ahead, it's a nice warm night. Lock it, I'll leave. I'll just call the fire. I was going to say.
Any comments on the minutes? Did everyone receive the copy of the minutes that were sent out?
I just took note that the Historical Commission action that was taken at our last meeting wasn't noted. Dawn, did you report that at the last meeting when I wasn't here? The action that we took regarding the current firehouse?
I don't know what you're talking about.
At our last historical meeting, the Historical Commission voted on the old firehouse that we would not consider it preferential preservation
Okay.
And I just wondered, I didn't see it on the minutes, and I thought you were going to report it last time.
Well, I gotta go back and look at what I
Okay, well, we did.
probably didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was an article, there was an agenda item that said Subcommittee Reports.
Okay.
And I think there were no updates on the Easthampton media thing, and so that wasn't reported, but we could probably put it in the minutes for this meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was not reported last time. At least I didn't catch it if it was.
I don't think so. Maybe we can just discuss it briefly today and include it today.
Okay, okay. We can add that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I'll just make it.
Any other comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from,
If you're doing Ed Charlie's, Charlie had sent out just his thing for select board, not wanting anyone to.
I wrote back to him and said that it actually is here on
Oh,
number
okay.
3.
Oh, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, the way it came in sequentially was Sarah had, when we reviewed the minutes, Sarah said, I want to make 2 comments. And one of them had to do with creating the shared drive, and the other one was about the select board reaching out. So I just put it under the things that happened.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the minutes from April 4th.
Second.
All in favor of approving the minutes as written?
Aye.
Right.
And I guess I should abstain, right, since I wasn't here. So
You don't
abstain.
have to.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. What I usually do is
to be here.
I abstain when I'm not here, but if it's needed for a quorum, then I usually, because I know you can, but I figure if I can't vouch for it, I'm not going to say no unless I'm needed for the approval. So it's up to you.
Well, I will abstain since I wasn't here.
I added this update from the Senior Center Building Committee. I figured there was no reason not to do it before we start going through a list.
Yeah, that's
so
a good idea.
I put it kind of higher up on the list.
I sent an email to Janet Kane, who's the current interim chair of the senior center, based on Ian's comments last time. I asked each chair to include it on the agenda for all the meetings so that we get an update from each committee. And since Ed and I are both on both committees, Ed wasn't able to go to the last one because of the budget materials had to get put together. So I'll just say that we've had 2 meetings so far of the Senior Center Building Committee, and they're kind of, going along on a parallel course of sorts. We have 1 more person to appoint to the committee, and there are a couple of applicants for tomorrow night's select board meeting, so we haven't really officially determined chair and other positions. So Janet's been doing it. And so Janet actually created a list of things for looking into, and Audrey, she's going to be looking at what the committee thinks should be in a senior center. Janet's contacting Attorney Kemp for a clarification of something on the will. You don't have to put all, I think it's just an update on, and then I think we're going to reach out to a project management or rather EDM. So South Hadley and Hadley were built by the same, or designed by the same architect, and they both use EDM. So we're looking for some guidance around the project management timeline. Joan is researching the number of seniors in town currently and how many will be in town 10 to 20 years from now. Darcy is providing a list of all the properties that are currently on the market over 1.5 acres, but also any town-owned properties that are along Route 10, but not more than a quarter of a mile east and west of Route 10. And then if anybody can go visit the Hadley Senior Center, I went on Friday and saw that. Everybody else, other people had a chance to go earlier. And yeah, so we're just waiting for the committee to be formed. And then Andrew, the one that is on the committee, he works in Boston. He is going to be, he has project management experience, so he's going to kind of drive us forward. And then Ed's going to hopefully help us with, you know, clarifying the SOW, RFP, RFQ differential and what we need to do. So anyway, that's still a lot of forming and getting information mostly, I think.
So will the committee be formed tomorrow night when those 2 new members are appointed?
Yeah, once that new person is sworn in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, technically, it's already formed.
Right, there's a quorum right now.
Yeah.
But it's the numbers don't match what the original feasibility.
Just one more.
But it will be
Slot.
filled out?
It'll be filled
Yes.
out, right. Problem is that the attorney that actually met with Red Parsons was not the attorney that is helping us now. So there's a lot of details. The language is a little ambiguous. So we're just making sure, because it said approve a study. So anyway, we're just clarifying, can we use that money for feasibility study and all of that. But we hope that we're gonna be on the fast track to doing a feasibility study or hiring somebody to do it.
Hopefully that translates for us too.
Yeah, yep, I hope so too.
So in terms of lots, they're just looking right now at anything within a quarter mile of Route 10.
Yeah.
Why quarter mile? Do they walking people?
No, I think that the feeling is it's not going to be in any more, like, it's not going to be on Line Street. Like, we're not,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to be central.
Surprised they wouldn't do the same like we're doing, half mile to a mile, it's available.
Yeah, I think that the idea is that it would be in a central location. So that means up and down Route 10, but not more than a quarter of a mile off of Route 10.
Oh, I see, quarter mile off of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Quarter of a mile off of, yes.
I think a quarter mile from here.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, that
I meant
limits
a
it.
quarter mile in either direction from Route 10. Like, we're not going to
Gotcha.
put it on any extreme,
Outreach
Yeah.
part of town. Gotcha,
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
and then we also just got a list from Darcy on town-owned land.
Yeah.
The problem is, just so you know, the town-owned land is listed as Southampton, the inhabitants of, Southampton, town of, inhabitants of the town of Southampton. So there's 4 different distinctions of town-owned land.
I think when I went through the spreadsheet that made ours, that we went through last time, I think I grabbed all of them, because I noticed that as well.
Right.
That when you just grab town of Southampton, you miss some, because some start with I as for inhabitants. And,
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I did notice that as well on that Excel sheet.
The problem is, you know, when I was playing around with the map that we had, it said Riverdale. Now, I know we're looking at that property, because those are 2 of the question marks from last time. When we looked at the Riverdale, literally right across the street on Gun Road is town-owned land. So I just was worried about whether or not we had an inclusive list, but I can forward this to everybody, but this is an inclusive list from the assessors, and it has land everywhere. Because I think that if we own land as a town, we should discuss whether or not, if we got it because of a lien or something, maybe we should sell it. I mean, why are we holding on to land if we got it because of a tax thing? So anyway, this is a very inclusive list, and I can forward it to everybody.
And that's of all?
All town-owned land in town. And there's a link to the software, you know, Vision software, which is how it has the whole property card. So anyway, I'll send this to everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Does that sound right to you now that
Yeah,
I'm
that
clear?
makes sense. Yeah, it did make.
A quarter of a mile in each direction?
Yeah,
like-
it's just how I heard it.
Yeah. I'm glad you asked then, because that's a big
I
difference.
will.
Big difference.
Okay. Anything else on the senior center? Or the next one. So I had status and review of potential lots. I know Mark isn't here. He was going to take a look at these town-owned properties that we had stars on. If you look at the back page of the minutes, has this list captured of what we had talked about last week. Did anyone see if you put anything on the drive? I hadn't noticed.
Oh, I didn't notice either. You can double check.
If you don't mind, I think that I'd get an alert, but I'm actually,
Yeah.
now that I think about it, not sure.
So what was you've directed us to this list of town-owned
Right, so
properties.
last time we had looked and we had starred these town properties, the top list is within a half mile, the bottom list is within a 1 mile radius. I guess with relation to this, do we need to talk about the geographic center of town with regards to this list?
Yeah, I think so, because the 1 mile and 0.5 mile will be altered, I think.
Yeah. So, Rini, based on what you sent out, that GIS, it didn't seem to be very far from what we were talking about, taking a look at it, where the geographical center of town is. I don't know if anybody else.
I personally, it doesn't seem that far, and it seems now like it's on Route 10, which is like Reni's thing for the.
Actually, it's not on Route 10.
No.
It's up,
No, the geographic
is not on Route 10.
is not on Route 10.
Back a
but-
bit, right to the
It's
west.
up on High, it's
Up on
up
High
on
Street.
High Street.
It's behind High Street. It is on Little Mountain, actually. Yeah.
Right, so not being on a main drag, now you have to take that and now you have to correlate that with the fact that it isn't on the main drag of what that impact actually is into the response times.
Right.
Because to get to the main drag is going to be slower.
Well, however, if you head down, it would be my thought that we should continue to look at it in relation to the main thoroughfares. And
I don't see anything on the drive.
it turns out that Center Street is indeed pretty much center. It's 2.7 miles to the Easthampton border and 2.7 miles to the Westfield border, and just about that to Holyoke via East Street. Couldn't be too much more central, and maybe that's why it was named Center Street, but it doesn't make sense to be taking, be going, up into Little Mountain.
Yeah.
Especially if you take population density into account.
Yeah.
Right.
that's- yeah.
Well, this is true, but Charlie did make the good point at one of the meetings that, and I agree with you, we don't want to be heading in that, or making the radii from back there, but population density could be changing over time from what it is now. New development could be initiated in other portions of town, so we can't really base it too much on, or it is my opinion, we shouldn't be basing it too much on population density now. Certainly take it into account, but we have to look to the future too on that.
Yeah, and if that opens up more possibilities, that's a good thing, you know? I don't think it's kind of relative. It's on the main drag. It's the important thing.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, but I don't, if the priority is given to town-owned lands, which our charge is, I don't want to negate anything on the west side.
Absolutely not,
Because
that's what I'm
we
saying.
just moved the center.
Yeah, to Center Street, so if we move it, whatever, 500 feet that way, we might as well expand 500 feet that way. It's
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
Yeah, 'cause
And-
one thing I actually noticed from the original list we pulled was that Brickyard didn't show up because Brickyard is exactly 1 mile from the town hall, which means by using Pomeroy Meadow Road, it's outside that. So
Right.
if you move it back this way, it'll bring Brickyard and that area back in.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, we should add Fulmer Road, the town yard, the highway department, back
Mhm.
into it.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you we went through already this list, but 29 Strong Road. I mean, there's several that didn't show up in the original list because Brickyard Extension, 74 Brickyard Extension, 8 Fulmer Road. That was kind of confusing because when I first looked at it, it's listed in Charter Communications
Oh, I
on
would.
the
Must
interact.
be because that little small building.
I know, I know.
But on the
it's-
assessor's maps,
On the
it is
assessor
the
map.
town yard.
It says Town of Southampton, right?
Yeah, it is the town yard. The 2 buildings are on the assessor's maps. And that is it's over 8 acres.
Right. I thought originally someone said it was 3, but it's actually over 8.
Okay,
So as far as the minutes go, are we in agreement that we will consider Center Street
That's
a good starting point?
Yeah, if there's more property in that direction, I'd say let's consider it. I don't think we should be eliminating properties right now.
yeah, I agree. So, as of right now, we'd had these starred properties to look into further. 210 College Highway, 34 Pomeroy Meadow, and then down in the 1 mile list, High Street Rear, Riverdale Road, and 2 Riverdale Road. I think those are still properties to look into, but while we do that, I'm not sure if Mark's getting that information. I can reach out to him before our next meeting to make sure we have more information on these properties at our next meeting. But should we add to that list prior to our next meeting so that, run through maybe anything that's town-owned that didn't get added here?
Yeah, I mean, I have the list right here. If you want to we could probably just figure out which ones to include. And then I know Ian and John probably have a much better understanding about what these properties are, and we could immediately, see if any of them are worth looking into. I don't know where all of them are. The easiest, I don't know if it's
You got
easier.
the map and lot numbers there?
I do, actually.
If you wanted to go through the exercise, I can probably throw the maps up on the monitor. when we
However
run
anybody
them.
wants to do it. I have a list of, I don't know, probably 24 properties that the town owns, and some of them are already on here. We can immediately exclude them, and then some of them might not be within the radius that we're aware of, but it might be good to at least focus on the town-owned initially. But however you want to do it, I'll forward this to everybody, and I can also just read to you what the property is, and I have the property cards. Probably you folks know what the property is and whether it should be excluded or not.
We could probably run through and at least eliminate a handful and, quite quickly, and if there's, then
Okay.
add a couple things to the list.
Well, the first 2 are Historical Society, 234 College Highway and just College Highway. And,
Well, the Historical Society would not be the town of Southampton.
okay. And then the next one is Salzburg, Southampton Housing for the Elderly, so that's Southampton Meadows, I believe, 128 College Highway.
Yeah.
Yes.
We own that?
No, I came across that, last week when I sent the information on the pilots out.
Yeah.
Because Dave Arnold had said, yeah, we sent 2 up. I only knew the one. And he said, the one for the Southampton Housing Authority. He goes, we don't own any property. He goes, that must be Southampton Meadows. Because they do the, what do they call it? They're not scheduling. But they have the reduced housing costs on the federal vouchers.
Okay, the next one's 29 Strong Road.
Is that over by the dump? Is that
I think that
large
might be the
acreage?
field. Right, that's
That would
what-
be the
Labrie Field,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And there's no land that would be considered, we should not consider it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm no authority, really.
Oh, I'm just asking, I
really don't think you'd have anything there. You have between the soccer fields,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of wet area.
Yeah.
That's to the north of the soccer fields, and you wouldn't get, there's no real practical location. And then you have the development right to the south side of it, so.
Are you used to looking at these vision cards? Like, where does it quickly say the acreage?
Oh, Oh, wait, see, that's another thing we had filtered by was acreage, so when
Unless it's
this
on the
list
second
has
page.
more, that might
Yeah,
be.
I thought it was on the first too. Huh. That's weird. Greenfield. Oh, scroll down. Yeah,
Oh,
right here. Land units, 43,560 square feet, 1 acre, and then 17.38
Oh, okay,
acres. Yeah.
so 18 acres.
Yes.
Okay,
Triangle.
okay.
Because we already have.
And I have exempt parcels here, a list of exempt parcels too, so I might be.
Next one is Helen Drive rear.
Is that, that conservation, or that little park?
Used to be Thomas Cross's land.
Yeah,
Oh,
might be that.
little
that-
tiny part.
That
Yeah.
Small park?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like its acreage is, 0.12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we
Okay,
own
so-
that?
Somebody probably gave it to us.
Yeah. There's that little memorial for the.
Oh,
That's
yes,
Angel
oh,
Memorial.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Angel Memorial, right.
So
That's right.
That's also
Yeah,
not, so we're
that's-
not, also not considering Labrie, correct? I won't add that to the
Labrie
list.
Field, correct.
Right. Okay, yes, correct,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, that's right, so we have an Angel
nothing so
Memorial,
far.
and it's for, I think it's people have lost children, and it's a beautiful little square, basically. 28 East Street. That's not on our list.
At the library?
Probably.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
I know they listed out as, I think it's 30.
How many, what do you have for acreage? though?
Acreage is,
Is it either that or it's Hazel Young's land?
Yeah, but it's town.
yeah, but it's actually not listed on here. We don't have East Street on here, right? Or is it 48?
we have 48 East Street.
Is that what I just said, 48?
Oh, I thought you said 24.
Okay, so it's, must be the library. It says part of Edwards Library.
Yeah. I know that at one point we looked into land around there, but there's a lot of wet there too. I don't know exactly what land that's talking about though, because what we looked at was contiguous to the library and the park.
Yeah. Next is 30 East Street.
No, that would be the library.
That is the library.
Yep.
Yep, and that's actually .884 acres.
Yeah. So,
So nothing so far.
right, and 80th Street is the town hall, the old town hall.
Correct.
Next is 204 College Highway. Do we already have that in there?
Yes.
That would be the fire station.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. It's not listed separately on this list that we have, so it's listed as 210.
Yeah, town hall.
But 204 is
204
your
is-
address?
Yes, the physical address.
All right, another High Street rear, actually, not another. This is a landlocked property, I think.
We have one High Street rear for 10 acres water department on here as to look into.
This is .19 acres.
Okay, well,
Municipal MDL. Anybody know what that stands for?
MDL?
It says municipal MDL description.
you said it's only .19?
0.19.
So it doesn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that,
yeah, the High
That's
Street
on
was
this
one of the
one,
ones
too.
we had highlighted, but it's, like was said last time, the only access is through Walcott.
however, there is a corner block on the corner of High and Maple that abuts it, that's owned by Sarah Norton, and that would be an access. However, that property is the old spring property where the town water used to come off from the spring. And I don't know whether there's any water, we're not taking any water off of it now, but I don't know whether there's any would-be restrictions because of the water situation up there. Do you know what I mean?
No.
You know what I mean?
Aquifer,
How many acres is that?
10.
Isn't that where the water tank is?
No,
No.
that's on Walcott. This is right up here on Maple Street, behind
I've never
Dodie
heard of
Dodd's
that.
house.
It'd be a pretty steep grade.
That's a really steep grade, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to have a fire station and police station up on that tall hill, up on High Street, I wouldn't think. You don't want to be,
Get our own sander, you know?
you don't want to be barreling down. Yeah, you don't want to be
Yeah,
barreling
You
down.
could barely fit two cars safely across,
Yeah,
passing
that's-
each other on Main.
Yeah,
Right, or on High even.
yeah, because if I was paved and better road, it would be nicer for access, but it's not.
No, it doesn't seem practical.
Yeah, if we're scratching stuff,
Yeah.
So is that the High Street rear, we think probably doesn't make sense? Is that?
It's pretty inaccessible, you
Okay.
know. Or
There's
it
10
doesn't-
acres?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It just location-wise, being up on the hill, to my mind, it doesn't seem like a practical location.
So we'll remove the star
Yeah.
from High Street Road
Yeah.
rear.
178 College Highway is the cemetery.
Yep.
And then Clark Street, I think the difficulty is the Manhan, like, you know, Hazel Young, it's part on East and part on Strong and part on Brickyard. And I think the Clark, with Conant too, it's listed, this is Clark Street.
Part on Clark, yeah, and part on
Right.
East.
East.
It doesn't have a
Not in
description, it doesn't have
Brickyard,
acreage.
We have one that's Clark Street, 18 acres, and we said it was Conan Park. I don't know if
Conant
that's-
Park, yep.
Mhm.
Historic schoolhouse, 3 baseball fields, yeah, so that's the park. The next one is another High Street rear. This one might be the one that's the 10 acres though. It's listed twice for some reason.
Well, there's a High Street rear here that's just 1.9.
I think that's the first one she was referring to.
Right.
Yeah,
But there
this
is-
one's the 10 acre one,
Okay,
but neither one of them are in consideration, right?
right.
And the next is 0 Fulmer Road rear.
We don't have
That's
that.
just that small, that's like 2 acres, right?
Yeah, then there's an 8 Fulmer.
And the 8 Fomer is the town, the highway department yard. That's over 8.
And that might be something worth adding back to the list.
Oh, I think so. 8
That's what you-
acres.
There's 8
Yeah, this
units,
is 2 acres plus 8.
Yeah. It seems as though it might house both the highway department and the fire, and the safety complex. I don't know, I think it's worth considering. And it's within the radius.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is, this one is a 2 acre lot. It just says municipal MDL, but it's 2 acres.
And the address is what?
Is 0 Fulmer Road rear.
It doesn't 0 mean that it's not on the road, I mean, that it has no
No frontage.
physical address?
Probably no frontage, and,
Yeah, so it may not be,
but if it's adjacent, you know, I mean, if it's
Yeah,
adjacent to another parcel that we own,
that would be great, but I don't think, I don't know where it is. It doesn't, this doesn't give us any indication where that 2 acres might be.
let me see if I can throw the tax maps up there.
Okay, I'll just go to the other Fulmer, which is 8 Fulmer, because I think that's, goes in conjunction with this one, and I believe it's exactly, yep. Well, it doesn't say acreage, it just says square feet. It says 312 square feet
Of what?
of
8?
land
8?
units.
8,
It doesn't say,
is that what you're saying?
it says highway garage, water department. It doesn't say how many,
It's
okay, yeah,
eight-
7.170 acres.
Oh, the map, the assessor's map, I thought said 8
Well, it's weird. It's
acres. Let me
list-
look on here. too.
Total card land units, 7.170.
Oh, yeah, 7.18.
Okay,
Okay, that's pretty close.
all right, so that's 0
Yeah,
plus
definitely.
8 Fulmer.
So that one would make sense to add to
Yeah,
keep in
both of them.
consideration. Right, kind of as one.
And just so you know, the Riverdale ones, I looked on the map, and basically they're wet.
Yeah,
One of them is
it's the
zipped
canal.
over, yeah.
It's basically the canal.
So,
right.
Riverdale
But I want
Road.
to hear back from Dave for sure.
Mark.
Mark, I mean, he was the one that was going to be researching the deed, but if you look on the map, they are, one of them is the barn. The first one is the 2 Riverdale, and the
Yes.
other one is like almost all wet. But I think we'll wait to hear from him. But across the street was when they had the Gun Road land, so I was just kind of surprised that that was there. But the Riverdale
The
doesn't
Gun
seem,
Road land is the Pomeroy Meadow.
what's that?
The Gun Road, I think we talked about, is actually on
Yeah, that's conservation.
Yeah, so I was.
Pomeroy Meadow. It's behind, you're talking about the land behind Norris, right?
No, actually, I was
Oh,
talking
okay.
about Riverdale is across the street and down closer to Big Y on the right,
Oh,
where the
okay.
Zip to Barn is. There's one parcel there that's small, and then down Riverdale, which is very wet.
Yeah,
There's another parcel, but, I mean, they're really wet. Like, that's probably our biggest concern from a flood standpoint is Riverdale.
yeah.
No, I mean,
We won't
yeah,
have
Charlie's
that.
mentioned that a lot in
It
terms
happens
of,
quite often.
yeah, Charlie mentioned that a lot, because of course the river's right there, and
Yeah.
there's 2 houses of concern actually down there that he was gonna look into, like possibly MVP. Okay, so what we're up to now, Clark, High, Fulmer, 48 East. Is that already on our
We
list here?
had that.
Yes, that's
as-
Manhan Meadows.
Yep.
0 East,
We had that as East Strong, Manhattan Meadow Sanctuary.
right. And then 74 Brickyard Road Extension.
That would be, I think, Hazel Young's property,
Yeah, we had-
the sanctuary.
Is that on our list then?
Parsons
Yes,
Memorial
there it is.
Forest,
Parsons,
is that
yeah,
the same
it's-
thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's labeled.
That's a lot of property there, actually.
Is that conservation or? not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So conservation, we can't do anything with conservation.
Right, it's in
Yeah, so of course.
perpetuity. And then 8 Fulmer, the other one is Moose Brook Road. There's a couple on Moose Brook.
That's over by the transfer station?
Yeah, this one is Town Landfill, and there's 9.7, actually, there's more
Right.
acreage than that.
It was about 10 acres.
How much?
Yeah, 9 sounds right. Yeah, I was having about 10 acres in my mind.
And what's the address on that?
It's, hang on one second, I'm just trying to find where the acres, because it listed 2 different
Oh.
acreage, 9.7 and then 7.2. What do you have for the acreage on that? On Moose Brook? Maybe because they're listed separately. It doesn't have a number, John, it just
Okay,
says Moose
that's-
Brook
no, I
Road.
just looked at it.
But there is
It's
another
just
one that says
landfill.
Moose Brook.
There's, Moose Brook of 18 acres. What would that be? It doesn't have a number. There's 48 Moose Brook for 5.5 acres.
Yeah, that's the next one, 48. 48 Moose Brook.
Is the town-owned land on Moose Brook you're talking about?
Yeah, it's really the transfer station. There's 2 separate parcels. This one is 4.5 acres, and the other one was 7, I think, right?
Well, this list shows 18 acres on Moose Brook Road.
Okay.
I don't know, trying, and then there's a Moose Brook Road rear of .10. .10.
So I know Moose Brook had been considered before by the transfer station. Was the idea that that was too far from the center, or going over that road there, or is that a,
So, look at it. I wouldn't rule it out at this point. It's not necessarily the ideal, but I wouldn't rule it off yet.
okay.
bridge okay? Yeah, it's kind of the
Narrow,
tricky-
for sure.
Yeah, it's narrow.
Yeah.
It's not the fun one. But do you rule it off, or then you consider bridge construction as part of the development?
Now, which bridge is that?
That little bridge that you're going up, if you go down Moose Brook and then you're going towards the
Oh, the
landfill.
Turkey's Cross.
It's a tight bridge, yeah.
Yeah.
What we can do is just make a
Well,
list of,
shall I put Moose Brook back onto the list?
maybe just a question mark.
Yeah, put it as a question mark, because I think, it sounds like you're gonna reduce it down to.
Yeah, we're gonna be whittling it down anyway,
Yeah,
but it wouldn't be
6
good to get other people's
6,
opinion
7,
about
8
it.
of them and-
So there's 2 properties listed here. One of them is 48 Moose Brook, and the other one was just Moose Brook. So, and it's, I wish this first thing says. Okay, this one says 18 acres.
Right, but it doesn't give an address, so we don't really know its location. It has to be. But
You got the tax map?
Yep.
What is it?
Hang on.
35
Okay, and the parcel?
for, block 4. Would that be
Okay.
what I'm telling you? Or what you need?
Yeah, he's about to pull it up overhead once it loads. Would be my guess.
Okay. 35. There's 35.
18 acres. This one.
Full screen. Where's my full screen? Come on, full screen.
Now, what lot is this?
There's 2 separate Moose Brook lots. One of them is listed as 18 acres, and the other one,
It's nuts.
the 48 Moose Brook is listed as 18 acres, and the 0 Moose Brook, I mean, it doesn't even say 0, it just says Moose Brook Road. It doesn't really have any, it's not clear how many acres there are.
Well, this map, this list says the one without a number is 18 acres and 48 Moose Brook is 5.5.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, this is just a list I had gotten
You
some
better go
years.
over to that white, yeah, there you go.
So you scrolled, is this page 35?
Yeah.
I gotta get a little closer.
So,
That's okay, I'm gonna blow it up.
Okay. I love my glasses.
Yeah, mine are reading glasses. I still can't read that.
And we're looking for number 4, you said?
48 or just plain old.
Well,
48?
did you mean
Parcel
block?
48?
Yeah, one of them is map, both of them are map 35. One of them is 6 and the other one's 4.
Okay.
Okay. Looking at Manham Road.
Come on.
I'm not
yeah, I
close
think,
to Moose Brook
I think
yet.
we're on the wrong
Yeah,
page,
and-
Ed. I think this is page 35 of the PDF, but it's not map 35.
Should be map 35.
You're looking at Manham Road, which is in the Russellville area.
Can you go over to the right? so you
Make sure
see
I'm
bottom.
reading this correctly.
Yeah, see Russellville Road, Ed? You're on a different part of town.
Okay, okay, I get it now. This one is 48 Moose Brook and it says it's 5.5 acres.
Right. And it does say on this list that it's map
And the other one
35.
has no number to it listed as 18 acres. So the combination is 23.5 acres.
But we don't know that they're contiguous.
Well, unless we can, one of them, like I said, they're both the same map, but
Same map, right.
So it's this is number 4 right here, that's 18 acres. I think that's it.
And then the other one is 6.
Hang on, I'll blow it up for you.
So they're adjacent. So this is 4, 18 acres, and this is 6, number 48, 5.5 acres.
Yeah.
This is the transfer station, right? Or, no?
yeah, they're both. The one of, that was capped, so there's a lot of land in the back there.
Okay.
Yes, and that capped section is that mound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So this area of that road right here is where they dump a lot of their soils and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there, and then the transfer station would probably be right around here.
So it's not impossible to build on an old landfill, but this is
Yeah,
not.
I don't know.
If you wanted the parking lot for something there, you could probably do it, but you do not want shall we say, an operational building.
Yeah.
Plus, it's pretty good mound.
I would say, this section here, where they dump everything,
That'd be the.
that is not landfill. That's like it's
Right.
gravel pit.
Yeah.
So it's a
Right.
gravel pit.
Soils and whatever.
Yeah, and that's all they use it for, it's just gravel pit. It's also where.
But
water
now-
goes.
If it's on the Moose Brook Road, I thought they're like composting area, and I may be unfamiliar with the area you're talking about, Chief, but
Mhm.
where you put your clippings and so forth, that's up at the tall end.
That would be right around.
Yes,
right around
okay.
here. Your exit would be right here.
So
And
what
entrance
is-
would be in right around there.
Could you describe, please, again, what's put at that other end?
So right here would be that large, the mound you see where they cap it.
Right.
And then over here is a gravel put, and that's where they put a lot of their soils when they clean things, the drainage areas, they put a lot of soils there. That is not capped right there. It's a pretty significant area.
Significant
It's
enough
size.
to, and not a mound, not the mound?
Correct.
Not, it's not part of the mound. no.
So
The cap.
potentially large enough to situate a complex on?
Potentially,
building?
yeah.
Potentially, yes. I don't know
It's on a
the
hill.
importance of the highway department needs,
Yeah.
the public works, because they need a place to put their soils and everything, and their chips and everything else. So where else do
Well,
they put it? I don't know.
If they
Well,
ever-
they've got 7
If they ever use
acres.
that for stumps or anything else and they got buried, I'd say stay the heck away from it from past
Yeah.
experience.
Oh,
In terms of
uh-huh.
compaction and like, or,
I don't know.
It's called
you know.
methane buildup from someone who inherited a middle school that had fields that was built on one, and it basically ended up with the nightmare of taking care of that.
Yeah.
So methane is a problem with that mound too, right?
That's why you'll actually see some vents out of it.
Yes, I know.
But it should have been properly capped.
Yeah.
Should
West
have.
Springfield just did something crazy when they built the middle school, and supposedly everyone knew that's where the stump dump was, that's where we dumped. Supposedly everything was removed, it was not. There was methane buildup in what became drainage structures. So DEP had an extreme interest in that, so yeah, it's cost the town a lot of money to maintain that.
So there are potential complications on that land, even though it has only been used as a refuse
I mean,
area.
we'd have to do a heck of a lot more research into
Okay.
it just
Yeah.
to be safe.
Right.
Yeah, the fire department does well monitoring around there, spring and fall, for all that.
Oh,
'Cause
really?
there's 24 test wells, and then the 3 vent tops. They
Oh,
constantly
interesting.
Yeah, that is
Rent.
interesting.
Rent the meter and monitor every 6 months.
so that checks that somebody then who's a little further away was their well at their house, then if the ones closer, good, people a little further, their
Yeah.
house should be fine
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, because it basically probably starts down there, right in the corner, and then comes up all the way onto Strong Road.
Is there any way we can take a look at the 8 acres where the highway department is?
Absolutely.
I'm kind of
Yeah,
perplexed as to where that 8 acres is
If you
coming
can tell
from.
me the map number on it, I can get you there.
You got that, Rainey, or
I
should
do, I mean, I can bring
It'd
it
be
up,
nice if it showed the building.
unless you have it handy.
Yes, it does. The assessor's maps show the
Okay,
buildings.
8 Fulmer is, here's the map.
So we should probably be doing a list of ones we're not going to consider.
Yeah, so that's
we've got
what,
that.
we removed High Street rear, and then this one, Moose Brook Road, I wrote challenge on my notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just,
Perfect.
like I said, we just need to do
Yeah.
some extensive research with it, that's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Right, it would probably be
Challenge.
if others got ruled out for whatever reason.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, where do you get this? I get the whole thing here. Where does it actually say, I'm not used to these things. Where does it say the map?
Over on the right, I've got it on the left-hand
Map
side
ID
of my list.
2845.
Okay, right,
Yeah,
like right on the
that's
top.
right,
Okay,
28.
thanks. 28 and 45. But then there's another one on Fulmer too. I'll get that one.
Hopefully it's adjacent.
Well, it is. 28 and 45 and...
Oh, there.
That's
20, yeah, the 0 Fulmer rear is map 27. So yes, so Ed's looking for map 28.
There's one.
And then 27, 24.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking
It's going to be
for
more over here.
parcel 40, don't you son of a gun.
Yeah, block 45, Ed.
28.
Yeah, it's right there. There's the buildings.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, so it's
Yeah, so-
7.1. So
Oh.
7.18.
Yeah, okay, all right.
what's out and back? That's
That's that salt
That's
shed.
a salt
Oh.
shed, yeah, so they're using probably most of that.
Yeah, but that can, I mean, that's all, the salt shed can be moved if that was an ideal parcel. You know,
Sure.
that's a lot of land,
So-
and,
Sorry, it's over that way a little bit, IQ?
yes.
Okay, there we go, 45,
Yeah.
I just couldn't see it.
So where's the other one, the 0 one that?
That's on map 27, block 24.
27?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
27, 24.
I mean, you can put it on there to drive around, but you probably want DPW input, because they use a lot of that yard.
Yeah, for storage of their equipment
Yeah,
too.
but, I mean, you can certainly consider it.
But also their efficiency, I mean, they have a lot of land to spread out.
Yeah, I'm
in.
not gonna tell them how to do their business. I think that it could be, and maybe we get rid of their salt shed or move it or something. I'm not getting in the middle.
Well, I'm just saying, it's town-owned land of
Sure.
significant acreage, and if
Here's
if
the
a
24 here.
study of it was done, maybe the whole thing could be made more
Minimize
efficient.
it.
I think it looks good on paper, and perhaps it would work out if we studied it.
What is that, Alden Pond?
It's some sort of water.
No, Alder Pond, right?
Yeah.
Alder Pond, yeah, it
I
is,
think I
right?
saw that.
Yeah.
But where is it?
So this
Alden
is,
Pond,
It's
Alden
not-
Alden
Pond
Pond,
is up by the Searle Farm.
yeah, so the
Yeah, so
Searle
is
Farm
that-
would be right here.
So is that part of
Why do we
the
own that?
sanctuary?
That was just sold recently. I know this area is, I think, all conservation now. Is that is it Wolf Hill?
Right.
Well,
Wolf Hill comes
Hill.
right down to here, right? Where it's off of Former Road, that conservation area, it comes down?
But that's, yes.
That would come down right here.
But the stripes,
So it's not even
Parcels,
connected to the,
conservation.
No, it's not connected to the land.
why is it listed as 0 then?
I think because it doesn't have any frontage.
Oh,
There's
Yeah,
no
it looks like it's
address.
landlocked.
and how long, oh, yeah, but it is it part of Wolfville?
Wolf Hill's
Anyway,
way
that's
too
pretty far out.
I know,
regardless,
that's
you know.
what's, I'm
Well,
just,
around the boonies stuff.
it just seems like a good time to figure out.
Well, that's
why do we own
conservation
it?
land, I think,
Mhm.
isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's trails out there that are, you know, that was purchased by the town. Or it went into chapter 61, there was something relative to that. I know.
It's
Well-
appraised at $2,000. It's gonna be
The
a pretty small parcel.
sanctuary is still, no, that can't be, because the sanctuary is still privately owned by the Searles. It's just that the.
Right, we have a
town-
conservation on it.
Yeah.
But we own the 0 Fulmer Road rear,
Right.
and it's appraised at $2,000, and it's on map 2724.
Right, no, it's right here, it's 2 acres in the pond.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No,
That's 20, 0.
pond doesn't go down there.
Okay, I don't know where the pond actually, it's shown in blue, right? Am I
Yeah,
missing
yeah.
something?
And what does it say on that, 2724?
Yeah.
This is map 27,
Yeah.
block 24, number 0, 2 acres.
Right.
Okay,
So I think that
so
we
why do
don't-
we
It's
own?
Sheldon Pond, maybe.
Oh, I don't know what pond it is.
I'd say we keep the highway on and not that one.
Can you minimize that so I can see where it is? I can't even, what's that street there? Crooked Ledge?
Crooked Ledge, Russellville, and
Yeah.
Fuller.
So it's Fulmer beyond Crooked Ledge?
Yeah, I don't think that
That-
would be.
that-
We
is-
own some small part of the pond for some reason.
Yes, we do.
Nice.
I don't know.
That's all.
Nice, but you can't get to it.
That's definitely- So this was the Searle property.
You go
right here.
fishing over there, John.
Yeah, there you go.
And so, Chief, you're saying that that is Alder Pond?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how much that one,
And then
Yeah,
this
let's
is
get that
all,
one.
just so you know, this is
Unless
all
you wanna
hill. That's mountain.
Have it on a boat.
And that's,
okay, were there any others on the list that we haven't gotten to?
Oh, there's still quite a few, but we'll zip through them. There's one on College Highway, but I don't think it's, it was conservation land.
What number?
Charles Goebel, does anybody
the
know
sanctuary,
Charles
Wolf
Goebel?
Hill Sanctuary.
She probably.
Yes, Goebel
Goebel.
had property
But
on
that's not
College
actually
Highway.
owned by the town, they just hold, the town.
Which
Past
is-
the golf course.
Conservation restriction.
Okay.
So Barry
Is that Lyman?
Searle still owns that.
Okay, all right.
Is that Lyman Conservation Area?
Some concerns about like at one point.
This is
I
not,
don't recognize
yeah,
it.
this is not a lot of, it's valued at 76,000.
Well, there's a portion
Wish there was an
of
easier way to
that
say the
that is
acreage.
not part of the sanctuary
2 acres.
apparently. So he wanted, I think,
On
the
College
situation
Highway.
was he
Still,
wanted
it's too
people to
small.
stay on the sanctuary.
That's saying,
part.
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
yeah,
sense.
this is too small. This is conservation land. Charles Goebel, We got 2 acres donated, conservation on College Highway, no number,
Okay, if
valued at
it's,
76,000.
we're still saying we need 3, right? So-
Right, right. So that one's College Highway. Then there's another one on College Highway, which we own, which is, again, no number. It's valued at 86.9. And this one was, it's owned by this, it's conservation.
Yeah, Goebel was over by the golf course, I
Yeah,
think.
that's what he just said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But the acreage in this one is 18.52.
What's the map number?
But
It's the map
conservation?
number 3543.
Is this conservation or no?
I think it is. Yep.
So there's no is there any
Yeah.
taking things out of conservation?
No.
Okay, I-
Very, very.
Well, I just thought I'd ask.
Well, I mean, we ended up building a
respond very
library on
certainly to that.
conservation land.
You
Oh,
respond
well,
very
you
appropriately.
can, but it has to go before the state legislature.
We
It's
built
not
the
an easy-
library on Conant property. There was a lot of controversy about that. So-
Right.
But we,
So I'm looking for number 43.
So do we want to spend time on conservation land is my only
No, just-
question?
No.
questioning why it's
I don't think
it's
so.
a lot.
No, I
I
don't-
because,
that's why I'm-
well, the process is very time consuming. The state is bogged down completely now. There's nothing moving forward with any kind of reviews or anything on
You see where it
conservation
is,
lands.
Ed?
I just don't think.
3543?
I'm looking for
Plus,
40.
it would be
Well, that's
enormously
45.
controversial.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
if we tried to do conservation.
Yeah.
We're
no.
kind of
Yeah.
contiguous.
Yeah, no, I don't
So,
disagree. I'm
so,
just-
so I would say, if to
Forget
answer your
that.
question, just cross it right.
That's what I was.
Cross it
yeah.
off.
48.
Okay, don't even want the.
48.
I just want
Okay.
to kind of,
Yeah, yeah.
And we have another Moose Brook rear, but I think we already came up with that one, right? That was the one that was the dump. And then we
Yeah.
have Middle Road. We own land on Middle Road.
That's pretty far out.
It is pretty far
Yeah.
out.
This is 28. Where's
That's Beverly Tilton was the previous owner.
it probably doesn't make sense if it's not, it has to
Yeah.
be at least somewhat central.
Right. Right. And then the next one then is 100 Gilbert Road. That could be the part we got from a tax lien. That was a dump that we cleaned up, and now the rest of the property is a dump.
And that's pretty far out, right?
Gilbert.
Wouldn't we consider Gilbert
100
to
Gilbert.
I don't know where
be
Gilbert
not
is.
central enough?
Yeah, Gilbert.
It's off of, it's between Moose,
Brickyard?
Brickyard and Fulmer. It goes perpendicular to them,
Brickyard, Fulmer.
right? No?
Yeah, you come up Fulmer Road.
It's
and-
only 1.41 acres anyway.
Okay.
So
And
next,
Fulmer Road bears to the right, and
I didn't find 43 at all.
so
on
we
that
own
map.
1, 2,
Russellville Road bears to the left.
Oh,
You go
yeah.
a couple hundred yards on Russellville,
I don't know.
and where the house is right by the bridge there,
Mhm.
that's Gilbert Road.
Oh, okay.
Goes through the Brickyard.
Oh, okay. You know.
Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 properties on Laurie Drive.
That's far. That's by the Westfield line.
Yeah, okay.
Strong, yeah.
Yep. And then we have Manhan Road, which is even further.
Yeah.
Then we have 52 to 62 College Highway. I think that was on our list.
Water Department, Wellfield.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Walcott Road rear. I think that's what we were looking at for the High Street property. That's
Is that conservation or water?
What map?
We have that as,
1833.
Walcott is where the water tank is.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking.
that's what we had for that High Street rear was Water Department. Is that,
Yeah, we had said that Walcott was the access to that road.
Right.
But this might be the Pomeroy Mountain, right? Would
Yeah,
that be, would that have a
yes, but
Walcott
that-
address?
That's, yes, that would be the Walcott address, and that would
Yeah,
be
it
where
probably
the
is, because
water
it's valued
tank
at
is.
625,000. Yep, water commissioners.
Yeah.
And again, that is up a hill, that's not practical.
No.
All right,
It's
0
number
Little Mountain
33.
Road, was that on our list before?
That would be,
Yes, it
that
was.
would be the water tank, Little Mountain.
That's the
Road.
water department.
yeah. we
And then
did
Little
that.
Mountain Road,
That should be the same thing.
Yeah, it's water,
I
because
think
same
there's a
thing, yeah,
couple
they're
there.
contiguous. And then we have the 2 Riverdales, and then we have 34 Pomeroy, which we're aware of, and then 263 Fulmer. That must be, I don't know what it
that's
is.
gotta be way up.
Yeah, way
When
up.
when we get the chance, let's just take a peek at 34 Pomeroy and look at that lot.
Yes.
That's a
that's-
good
Just
Okay.
to see if there's
For the school.
anything that could bring us out to Route 10 from that area, or,
Yeah,
you know.
right, good point.
Well, I was thinking about that, and
It's on 0.92 acres
in the
anyway.
minutes, it said that the intersection of Gun Road and the highway is dangerous.
It is.
But the most logical thing to do is to shoot right out to Pomeroy and then straight up, because going down Gun Road to the highway is a hill and it's winding and narrow, but if you came out behind the school and just came right out to Pomeroy Meadow.
Yeah, if you drove back to school every time, that'd probably be the way to do it.
Mhm.
Now, the other thing that I wondered,
But it's emergency vehicles with school.
yeah, but you know what, this
Well, I
was a
guess you don't need your
school.
sirens on there, you know.
This was a
Maybe you
school
guys
too.
do, fire-
Had they put that
Next
fire
to the
station
fire
right in the
station.
town's
Yeah,
elementary.
yeah.
You know, it's been that way before.
Yeah, I just.
Right,
I know
that's a
the
good
fire
point,
department likes
right.
it, so they like the loud noises. We
Yeah,
usually
that's
have to- we usually have to do a silent response.
Yeah, where was our engine brake?
Here's the other thing that I wondered in looking at that parcel, and it may be that around a school is not practical, but what I wondered
Do you have
about
it?
that is
No.
that there's a
Here's
fairly
the 34 Palmer.
Yes, look at it.
good swath of land that comes out to the
1955.
east of the school,
Good
right,
year,
that
actually.
boundary
Good
line.
year.
It's only 1
I
minute.
wondered if a drive, so that you could go
Right.
Oh,
in,
directly.
in one way and out
Out
the
the
other,
other,
so
yes.
essentially wrapping around the
The school,
school.
the ball fields.
Yeah,
Yes,
wrapping
yeah.
around and coming right out onto Pomeroy Meadow,
Yeah.
I thought that was worth looking into.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, let's look at it.
So,
12 Center Street, that must be the Churchill, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I should announce something that was mentioned at this, at the
Just
actual
a
meeting of the
breakdown,
senior center, that the church had a meeting and they're
other
discussing that they would
direction.
like
Other
to
direction.
deed the church
Down.
property
Down
and
in the
church
back
to the
this way.
town,
Oh, boy.
with the hopes of
Yep, no, back to
discussing
left.
having the senior center. Are you aware of that? With the hopes of having a senior center.
Okay, there's the school.
There's 55. Okay.
So, go
Wow.
up slightly.
Things like that are happening. There's
Yeah,
uh,
a lot of
churches.
Right, they just wanted, they wanted to
Has
be
that
able to use the
been found
sanctuary,
yet?
but the rest of it, they're going
Yes,
to deed
so
to the
it'll
town
be
in
right here.
exchange for some sort of
It'll be almost
use
like
of a
that right
sanctuary.
And that's
That's
all wooded.
huge.
And that's all
Sad.
wooded.
It is all wooded, so doesn't that make sense to come out, I mean, really, that only comes back to,
So you're saying you'd have a.
no, that's Gun Road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's Pomeroy Meadow on the other side.
So you're referring to a driveway coming
Right out
out that
here.
Pomeroy and then one out here, so you could.
Yeah, I just wondered whether that might be a possibility.
I don't know how much room there is. I mean, the school has the pickup, you know, you pull in to pick up.
It actually comes in here.
No, it doesn't. You're going too far.
Well, this is the building, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, you're behind, that's the back of the building.
Oh, you're no, this is the front of the building.
Yep.
There is a
Yeah.
driveway there,
Meadow.
but they don't usually connect to the back of the building.
No, it comes this way. I was wondering if there was enough room to do this. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure there is, but certainly this is flat and it's wide here. It's safe traveling for emergency vehicles, I would think.
So there's possibly enough room for something there. I can tell you this much. Down below here, there is,
Drops off, doesn't
it
it?
drops off significantly, and there's actually the vernal pool. There's a vernal pool
Yeah.
right here,
I'm surprised it's not on
you
there.
know?
Well, you can actually layer it with lots of different things. I've been
Yeah.
playing around with the maps.
Yeah.
But
Not necessarily this map, but
I'm just, there
It's
is.
floodplains
There is
and all
a
kinds of
significant
stuff.
amount of wooded area there. I just know that much.
Yeah, and you could leave it on the list to look into it if you wanted to find out more.
yeah, I think it already
I think-
started.
I think it's important to leave it because it's
Yeah.
a sizable,
Sure, at this point,
Parcel.
let's just, if we
Yeah.
got through,
No, it's
keep ones that we wanted to look
definitely on the
more, do
list.
more research on.
All right. The next one is 12 Center Street.
Shaded area? No, it's, so you see the big school there? Yeah. It's the big white area.
Behind it.
So-
behind it.
Yeah, if you're looking at the school from Pomeroy Meadow Road, you'd actually be looking at the front of the school. These are the ball fields
There's
right
a couple
here.
ball
How far
fields
back
there
do
now.
those go?
I would say from right around here is all wooded. That's the wooded area here. So this is Country Garden Apartments.
Right.
And there is an access road to Route 10 from there, right?
There is not.
There isn't?
From Country Garden
Yeah.
Apartments, but not from here. There is
Right,
from
right,
Country
right.
Garden Apartments, yes.
Yes.
Who owns that parcel?
But there could be, is what I'm saying.
That, Mr. Merritt, I think, the Merritts would own that.
Yeah.
which one?
You know, the nice colonial that we done?
Yeah, with the
colonial-
sport
Oh,
rail
yeah, and
fence.
that is APR land.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, that used to be owned by Chris Fowles' grandfather.
Right.
Right. Now Merritt's on it.
Bummer, because I'm looking at an in and an out right there.
I know, that would be a good one, absolutely. And you're away from the school enough, so it's, miss their traffic.
But,
Well,
well, it's worth a site visit maybe.
Yeah, it's worth a say, but over
Yeah.
there with the
Yeah, we'll keep it
Google
on the
map too, you
list.
can
Yeah.
see like some of the wetlands perhaps, or,
you're right, I'm remembering that there's a vernal.
yeah. And part of
Yeah,
what
looks
we're
like-
only gonna
looks
have
like
between
this.
5 and 10.
Something up in here that's spotted around for probably wetness.
Yeah.
Ed, could you bring up, if we're done with this particular map, would you bring up on 2338?
Sure.
And that's Center Street, but it says 3 acres, over 3 acres.
Oh, that's part of that.
Is that the
hill.
Church Hill?
Yeah.
Is that
That's
3
the Church
acres?
Hill.
It
Doesn't
could be
seem like
3
that
acres.
big.
It depends what it looks, what, it's gotta be, if it says so, it probably is.
I
Yeah.
think it goes over probably, it's not just the Moan area, but goes over into that kind of woody
Oh, okay.
section too, I
Yeah,
believe.
it's
right
not,
now.
it's obviously very hilly.
And at the bottom of the hill is wet, super wet.
Yeah.
Who owns the property where?
You said
I
38?
know the Fletchers, I think they plant something there, but it's across from Hackworth Systems. So you have Gun Road, there's that field.
Oh, yeah.
So you come out of Gun Road Extension and you take a
Take a
left,
left.
and there's that large
There's
field.
a rod and gun club out there.
It borders the Rod and Gun Club.
It
Who owns
borders
that?
it.
Yeah.
Isn't
Right,
that
so-
the sanctuary, Zipta Conservation?
No, there would be on the other side of that, I think, unless,
Zipta owns 2 houses on Glendale. Oh, you're talking about
Yeah,
Glendale?
no, I was
No,
talking
right
about
on
the
Route 10.
highway before
Oh.
so
Canal.
you take a left out of Gun Road Extension,
Right.
and then there's about 3 houses down, there's this large field on the left, and the Rod and Gun Club, that dirt road to the Rod and Gun Club, there's that large field. And I know the Fletchers use it for some, maybe the Fletchers even own it, I don't know, I was always curious of who owned that, if the town owned that. And,
Yeah, there's Center Street.
Well, I can look right now, actually.
I don't think
Here's
the town owns it,
I guess it
but
would pop
So
up.
what's that conservation? Is that the hill? Oh, where are you going?
So
I'm
Maple
trying to find 38.
goes away.
Yeah, I think.
Go back
look-
down.
Yeah, go back down the way, in that shaded area, what's that one?
So there are 3 properties on Gun, that are on Route 10, 1, 2, 3.
What number is that?
The first one
I don't
is
have my glasses.
Sirios Panagiotis, 108
Gotta be
College
somewhere
Highway.
around there.
The next one is Sarah Curley, and the next one is Sandra Campbell. There are 3 houses if you're on Gun Road Extension, you start heading towards Big
Mhm.
Y, on the left, there's 1,
Oh,
2,
there's
3
three,
Yeah,
properties.
and then
And there's a big
That's
one,
that field, what's that
Richard
large field?
Ferrari, he owns, it's a lot, oh, it's only 1.43 acres.
This has to be at least 4 or 5.
Fleury has properties over there.
Oh, there's their center.
And the next one after that is
Yeah.
Fletcher,
Okay, that's.
on the left-hand side of
Yeah.
Gun Road. And that is 12.79 acres.
Yeah.
So they own both sides, I
That's a
didn't
good
realize
size
that
parcel,
either.
but it's a hill right there.
So that 38, number 12 center,
Yeah, I brought up 38 up about a month ago and was told I'd get crucified
Oh, which,
because of no sliding on the hill anymore.
where is it?
That's a church.
yeah, that's the church.
One, okay, that's 3.82 acres?
yeah, so
The church looks like 1 point something.
I was gonna say, the church itself is here, right?
Church is at a
Right,
separate, it's at
37
a
is the
separate
church.
parcel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is Church Hill, that's where the kids
Right.
sled.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what we own, 3.82?
Yeah.
Well, that's not conducive right there.
Most of it's on a 45-degree angle.
Right.
Get a running start.
All
Could
right.
bump start just about any equipment.
All right, next is,
Okay.
next is 202 College Highway, but it can't be a lot of acreage because it's,
That's got to be that old house
Yeah,
that was
that-
next to the fire
The
station. to
Miles
get
house,
across.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's wetlands.
Yep.
let me see how many, I wish it would be, okay, acreage. Doesn't even have a consistent place where it says acreage.
The hill wouldn't matter. No, but you'd have to,
Vacant land, oh, there it is, 1.25 acres.
you'd have to have, your building would be a couple floors, so you're
And let's see what
But if
else.
you, exit the market high street, but then Maple Street, I mean, it's not ideal going up the hill. Could you do it? You could. Doesn't sound like it's popular. Let me see.
Walcott Rear, 7 Meadow Lane, we
Yeah.
own.
Yeah,
Anybody know what that is?
Do we want to not
That's a
open it?
sanctuary.
pretty steep though.
That's a sanctuary?
Yeah. You walk out there, that's where the old, part of the canal is,
Oh,
on
really?
7 Meadow,
I didn't know we had a
Meadow
meadow.
Lane.
Do we want to include 12 Center Street on the list?
No.
You can see all there's the dikes from the old canals.
It's a
It is
steep hill.
conservation.
Really?
It's 34 acres though.
Below.
Okay.
It's 34 acres. That's a lot.
Where we?
Yeah, it actually goes out towards like Big Y. That's where the
Really?
dikes are for the old canal on Meadow Lane. It's
I know.
posted as conservation.
It's 836, so it's probably on the Easthampton.
Well, that would be part of the Zipta property then, wouldn't it?
It may be, but I know you access it through Meadow Lane. There's a
Okay.
little walking path that you
I don't
walk.
even know
you
where
can
Meadow
actually
Lane
walk on the-
is.
On the
That's
dikes
strange.
where they had for the canal.
For the canal, yeah, that's all conservation
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
Zipta conservation land.
How many more on the list? I just being a little conscious of time. We have a couple more things to talk
Let me
about.
just see. Meadow, where's Meadow?
Isn't this?
Well, we can probably blast through, I mean, we have to look at every single one of them. Where are we?
I'd be curious to hit these so we kind of.
I'm
feel
gonna
like
forward
it's-
this to everybody so you have it, but, 8 East, Walcott, Meadow, okay, so there's 12 left. 34 Glendale and 24 Glendale, that's the
Skip.
conservation.
Yeah.
68 Pomeroy, we already
We
had
had
that
that
on the
water
list.
supply land.
Glendale Rear,
Can't
this
find
might be
36 again.
Clearwater Woodland. Pomeroy Meadow Road Rear,
We had 68 Palmer Meadow Road Rear. How big is it?
There's Meadow Lane, that's what we were talking, that's the property, that's
that's
the path,
water,
the
water,
walking
water
path right there.
commissioners.
Out there.
Oh, there's 36.
Yeah.
Right there.
Cottage Ave, that's way out by the
That's-
ponds, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you know we own land there? I know the state
I didn't
owns,
know we owned
state-owned land right on the,
Been through a couple good
and then
house fires.
Pequot Road Rear, we have land there.
That's far.
We have 2 parcels on Pequot Road Rear.
I think that's water.
Another one on Pequot Road,
Yeah.
probably the water station. Bloomer Road, we have, that's
That's
too
fire
far out.
department.
180 Brickyard, I think that's the one that we bought because of the tax lane.
That would be around the right number.
Yeah, and then County Road, I know 2 of them on County Road.
So this Meadow Lane is all conservation, I would assume? Or is that
think so.
viability at all?
No, I'm certain that it is. You have the conservation, it's actually a nice walk if anyone ever considered. It's nice and short, but.
That's all old Zipta
Yeah.
property. That's conservation. I
Yeah.
think, well, you've got all the wetlands there, and is
Mhm.
that the canal bed?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And they're just now mapping that to try to get it on to the National Historic Register, so,
So probably not the spot.
and it's, it's a gully.
Yeah.
County Road, there's 2 properties, but that's kind of far out. Pleasant Street, I don't know where that is that we own, do you know? It says 0 Pleasant.
Very landlocked. and
It's
pleasant.
conservation, it's town of Southampton
Oh,
Concom.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I know what that would be. That would be right by the,
So it's conservation.
circle.
Yeah.
And then the last ones are Riverdale, we already have that. 210 College Highway, we have that. 111 Glendale is Clearwater Woodland, and then there's 2 on Gun Road. One of them is 49 Gun Road, and that is, it says vacant land. 12 acres. It says conservation.
I think that's where the railroad tracks, I think the Fletchers, that's their fields as well, where they hate the fields.
And the other one is, Gun Road doesn't have a number, and this one is
9.
9 acres. Yeah, that's when I was noticing these 2 Gun Road ones when we were talking about the Riverdale, but I wasn't sure why the Gun Road ones didn't come up.
But they're both conservation, or is one not?
They're both listed as conservation.
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like at this point we have 210 College Highway, 34 Pomeroy Meadow Road, Moose Brook Road, kind of with a star as a challenge, but still on the list. Riverdale Road, did we want to keep that on there? 11
I think that's
acres?
the
I think we're waiting to hear
Yeah.
back. I mean, I don't think
Okay.
it's feasible, but.
Do you have, I mean, we could look at it, but I'm certain that that's all wet. That's,
I am
What's
pretty
the
sure. I
map
mean,
and
it's
lot
got all
number?
that green on it too.
What's the map and lot number, Rainey?
Hang on.
the river's right, goes right through there too. That's
There's
where-
two of them.
It goes in one door and out the other.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah,
big
one's
door.
I've seen it.
Riverdale.
Be a nice place to draft, we actually do draft, we've got hydrants in the location too.
1913, Ed. Used to be Sunnyside Development Corp.
So we're gonna end here with a list of 5 or so town-owned properties, which we need to get more
Yeah.
information. I'll contact Mark, and then if he isn't able to get more, I can look up more information on these. But in terms of,
Did you have the Fulmer too?
I had 8 Fomer, yep.
8 Fomer and then the transfer station,
Yep, Moose
But not the
Brook.
2 Fulmer.
not the 0
Right.
Fomer. Yeah.
In terms of how to tackle the privately owned next meeting, it's a big list. I don't think it makes sense to sit here and go through all of it together. Is there a way to filter it down to get, just to vacant land and over a certain acreage? Because a lot of these are just people's houses.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think that may be similar to the senior. I mean, would you consider anywhere up and down Route 10? Or only certain distance from the current center of town? Like, I think we can.
Depends on the deal, I mean, if it was like a great deal,
Yeah,
we should look at it.
yeah,
I wouldn't rule it too much out unless it's way
yeah.
one direction or the other.
Okay. But anywhere up
It
along
would be
Route
up
10,
in this
even as
area.
far down as like Big Y area, would be,
I'm just
I
wondering.
think that's-
If you're big Y,
Big
you're
Y,
really,
that's right on the edge of
yeah,
town.
that's the edge of town.
Right, right, right.
That seems
11.
extreme.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
it.
13.
Yeah, that's it right
I mean,
there.
I think a main road is good, a lot of
Yeah.
advantage to it, and maybe you go, a mile and a half rather than the mile.
It's less than an
If it's on
acre.
If it's on a main road, but I would say towards the center, so where are we gonna turn, so if we use Center Street as a center, I mean, maybe you
Yeah.
go,
Well,
A
it
mile
was
and-
discussed to have a mile. I mean, the
Yeah.
committee
Yeah, yeah,
did
yeah.
think a
But
mile,
then I
and then
think
Mark
said
suggested 3/4
of a mile, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the list was just so overwhelming, and so I think we can kind of exclude anything, less than 3 acres?
Right, so this list is this is anything within 1 mile, this was Palmer Meadow on Route 10, but
Yeah.
it's a starting point. Anything over 3 acres, but it's just, it would take us a long time to sit here, we don't wanna sit here
Right,
and do.
right. We don't want to go through the
Yeah,
same
this is-
process.
Right,
Plus,
because
we
it's
have
different,
to
it's
add
just.
some to that list going west, or going
Right,
south. I
so
mean.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how if we could, we're only looking at things that are vacant, I assume, right? I mean,
What do you mean vacant?
don't have a home, structure on them, or no? I mean, maybe
no,
that's
I
not.
think it's everything. my
It's
guess.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh, this is everything, I know, but I'm saying,
Right.
should
Yeah.
we at first look at things that don't have
Yeah.
a structure?
That are
Just
vacant. I
as a
guess-
way to
I-
like pare it down.
Right, something without a building on it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might say, yeah, unless it's more than 10 acres or something.
Right, then
right.
you could potentially parse
Then
off.
maybe you might parcel off, yeah. But
So-
that's probably a good thing, vacant or over 10 acres.
Vacant or over 10 acres. All right, that's good. And then a minimum of 3 acres.
Right, so is that based on this use code? Does that tell you if it's a residential home?
The zoning can tell you if it's residential.
Right, well, zoning tells you if it's zoned residential, but it could still be an
Right.
empty
Lot.
lot
Right,
that could
right,
have a
right.
home built on. I'm just wondering how,
Assessor
with the
must have
information
some.
we have.
Yeah,
Is zoning going to be a problem for the complex, for the building? I mean, if it's not commercial, if it's residentially zoned, does that pose any kind of problem for the public safety building?
Changes in zoning have to go to town meeting, but they
Right.
need to
It
change.
just depends on the potential of commercial. I mean, if you had the opportunity to not, we have so little commercial land, if you had an ability to put it somewhere else and leave that commercial, I'd say that's advantageous.
but we can also eliminate APR, right? Anything that's APR, anything that's conservation that's not
yeah.
owned by the town?
Yeah, we're not gonna get it out of that.
Right.
And then there's one other long shot. If we found a parcel that was landlocked, that was big enough, but depending on what was in front of it,
Yeah.
of taking a look at saying, okay, maybe you've got a huge parcel in the front, maybe we could get a 75-foot purchase into it to get in and out, rather than buying a parcel with a house on it or what have you.
Yeah, right. You mean,
So
within our
where-
own
so-
property?
What?
You mean access from to our own property?
Yes. Well, our own, or even if we found something that was theoretically landlocked, and might be not very valuable because it's landlocked.
Then we could get access onto it.
We can-
So I think if we did like the vacant, like you're saying, and greater than 10, I think they would kick out what you're talking about.
Mhm.
Yeah. So minimum of 3 acres, any lot that's on this list. And we should get a list that basically is, I mean, again, I come back to what you said, I mean, how far from, on Center Street, a mile in each direction from your current Center Street? Or even further if it's,
It's, yeah, I mean,
This is the Rod and Gun Club right here.
yeah,
oh,
I mean,
that's it.
You're looking, I mean, that's something that we might want to consider too.
Yeah.
Speaking with somebody at the Rod and Gun Club, and
yeah.
Is there wetlands down there?
that's a field.
Just a little bit on
Yeah.
the south side.
I mean, but they have a lot of, obviously, this is the trajectory of their
Yeah,
range, but this is not.
yeah, right.
Yeah, they don't have anything close to the highway. They
No.
have to do their
No.
shooting way back. So I wonder if
Exactly.
that highway parcel
Right.
would
Because
be,
that would be right where, next to the Fletcher's field that I was referring to.
Right.
If that is correct, this would be Fletcher's right here.
Yeah,
essentially, what you're saying is it would be essentially across from Hackworth?
Yes, yes, exactly.
So,
Ed, can you go up on that map a little bit? So you
Could I? Yes. Will I?
Would you please?
you can tell it's getting late.
Yeah, we
Punch
know.
right here.
No, I'm always very literal. That's the influence of a
Oh.
junior high school teacher, unfortunately.
Well, junior high is also dating yourself, so you know.
all
Other
right,
way, Ed, other way.
Down?
Yep.
Okay.
so,
Come on.
we'll try and get some information on
Why isn't
these
this
town on
cooperating?
land, piece of town on land, and we'll try next time to get further into some of these.
Keep going?
Yeah,
No, no.
okay, right there. So, okay, well, actually, this is,
What is it?
so you know what, then I'm mistaken. So this is that acreage that someone says is the Fletcher's, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's the Rod and Gun Club property there, so this is actually private residence. So the road it would be a long road and then into the Gun Club
Yeah.
area.
But that's hatched, and I bet that's conservation land. They've
Yeah,
got
it
some
is.
kind of
Yeah.
restriction
Yeah.
on it.
Okay, no.
so did you say that current list you
What
have
about that
does
parcel,
not
that
have
long
APR on
parcel
it?
that
I don't
you
know.
were
Yeah,
pointing
do you
out?
know if,
That was
Is this
privately
what
owned.
Ed has
I
said?
wonder if,
and what is the index to it? Is it listed by
that?
address, is it listed by
No,
acreage,
no,
is
that
it
one
listed
was
by,
on this
what's
side.
the
I don't know,
border?
I was trying to figure that out too, to be honest, I have no idea.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe it's by map number.
I know that this area, Fletcher, the Fletchers actually feel this area, you know, but
Yes.
You know, it was also a good site that we kind of lost when Gilbert bought
Yeah,
that
but
property
it
right
comes
next to
up
Heritage
with-
Surveys.
remember
To have a senior center and a public safety right across from the
Perfect.
park,
perfect place.
it's,
Just be careful because you've got a 21E plume from the gas station.
Yeah. Which they modeled up those walls.
yeah.
Say
I
that
just
again,
cited them
Ed?
for
There's
my
a
Describe
travels
that.
around
There's a
too.
21E, which means
Some mess.
Hazardous
paint
waste
this
site.
property hazardous waste from the Sunoco gas station. That the topography will take it that way.
So,
Has it been tested? So that would be true of the Marmon Keystone property as well?
That would be,
no?
Marmon Keystone would be too far away, I would say,
Okay.
Too far away for what?
I don't, yeah.
for that
For that
plume
plume.
For that
to
plume.
travel that far.
So that's an underground plume you're referring to?
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
a
fascinating.
UST leak.
So
Yeah,
that
it
is
originated
indeed
from
like
Weekend Fuel
brownfield,
Tanks. At
designated
the gas station.
brownfield?
On that site
Oh.
specifically,
I
really?
didn't know that, huh?
Well, that'll be an issue for any kind of building there then, right?
yeah. So,
All right, so
I just-
minimum of 3 acres, anything that's vacant, or anything that's over 10 acres that isn't vacant, and then obviously remove everything that's APR or conservation, right?
yeah, so how do we generate this list?
Well, it would be Dave Zagorski, who's our principal
That is
assessor.
farm
Okay.
protected.
And I'm the liaison to the assessor, so I can
Agricultural.
certainly reach out to him, or you did the
Yeah.
last time,
Yeah.
but, yeah, we just need from Center and Route 10.
So Fletcher's.
But I'm not getting I don't know if I don't want to limit ourselves mileage-wise.
Well, there are a number of,
More than-
oh,
because of-
Grindstone, portion of Grindstone.
Yeah.
You think more than a mile from Center Street would be too far in either direction? Would you want to consider anything further than a mile?
I don't know, I mean, you could do like we did before, where we did sort of half mile, 3/4, 1 mile, 1.5 miles,
Okay,
you know, and then reduce, if we can somehow do the data mining to reduce the list to the 10
Yeah,
acre
yeah,
parcels
yeah. Right.
or 3 with no building, you know. that would-
okay.
that-
And I'll send an email over to the assessors and
Okay.
Dave and ask for, to see if they can filter out the list a little bit on the private-owned land to try to keep it,
Yeah, we just want a manageable list.
right, a manageable
Yeah.
list.
And that's why, to start off with the half mile and the mile, as you say, don't go beyond that for the
Yeah.
time being, because
Yeah.
that is overwhelming.
Yeah, unless there was a place that was further than a mile out from Center Street that it would be worth considering. Along Route 10, because it's such an accessible route.
Right.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead
we'll
and
get that list for
I'll
next.
communicate to the assessors. Is there anything else we should exclude just to keep it manageable? Exclude town-owned property, obviously.
Yeah, exclude
Yeah.
town property that we've already looked at. Is there a way to say, within 1 mile or whatever of Center Street, but also within, a half-mile driving distance of Route 10? Because that's realistically probably what you want, right?
Yeah, we don't want it far off of Route 10.
I don't-
I
I
like
think
almost
it-
like what the senior center did, where it was like a quarter
Quarter
mile.
mile.
Yeah, I
off
think a
or 10.
half mile's too far,
Yeah, I
because
think a
that
half
really
mile might be
takes
too
it
far.
short.
Yeah.
Start with a quarter if we have to
Quarter.
go farther.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it could be a
Yeah.
mile up and down Route 10, but only up to a quarter mile off Route
Yeah.
10.
So
And
what's a
then-
quarter mile, do you think, going for on East Street? What do you think, you think the bridge is a quarter mile?
Yeah,
I'd say
just
that's a
about.
half mile.
I bet
Yeah,
it's a half
mile.
Oh, a half mile, yes, it's a half
Oh,
mile.
so a quarter is not even Clark Street, right?
Probably the library.
Yeah, probably
Yeah,
close to
probably
the
not
library.
library, that's.
So a
I
quarter
guess.
is close enough? Are you-
Yeah, I think a quarter is, I mean.
Okay.
it's-
Let's
it's
start.
worth considering.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
start with that.
Yeah, I think with the
That'll
private
keep
owner,
it-
we gotta get it down to
Yeah,
start.
yeah,
Because,
Well, that'll limit it a lot.
yeah, so if we do a
Yeah.
Quarter mile,
Yeah, but I think
Quarter
between
mile
all the
from
stuff that we're listing, between a quarter mile away from 10, greater than 3 acres unoccupied, greater than 10 occupied,
yeah.
taking out all the conservation, all the APR, I mean, and you could probably do a wetlands overlay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if it's in wetlands overlay, eliminate that as well, if that's a possibility.
Yeah, so I think that'd be good, and we can review that together next meeting.
Okay.
Did you guys still, we had a couple other things on the agenda, this health and safety thing. Do we still want to talk about this today?
We can, certainly, I mean.
Did you want to make
patients
sure you put the
people
minutes about the Historical Society's comment too?
Commission.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Well, we took a vote.
Yes.
And my apologies, but I had to go to my technology committee meeting.
Yeah, see if you can fix my
You
email.
I'll
can't,
let-
either virtually?
Yeah.
That's a checklist that they use for fire department. And so some of this, I just highlighted some of the basic stuff that they look for if they come through. Engines not idling in the building, apparatus area sufficiently ventilated, that's just one of the smoke extraction things. Electrical, I mean, it's an old building, so we do have like some, there's electrical wires hanging out in different places because it's just an old building. Circuit panels, I mean, we park our ambulance right up against the circuit panels, we got a leak and crawl of the things to get out. So that would be something that they would not call us on. So those are, eye wash, we don't have an eye wash station. Storage mezzanine, weight limit posted, I mean, we got a mezzanine without a real railing on it. So there's those are the kind of things that they're really gonna get us for. The floors maintained and dry as feasible. I don't know what that means. And
Thanks,
we
Ed.
get-
Well,
on some seasons we have frogs in there. So, and I don't know what you do about that. So those are the,
You let them out.
but, considering,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, thank you, Ed. Bye.
you're welcome.
but considering, that if they came in, those are really the highlights for what they're looking for. That's the safety checklist that I handed you for fire facilities.
Sounds like
So-
it's a protected area, vernal pool.
Vernal pool.
right.
They're about the vernal pool. So, I don't think it would be debilitating to bring them in. I think that there's stuff that we wouldn't know what to do with. I mean, wetness on the floors, and what do you do with that? Electrical outlets, I mean, there's no other place to park the ambulances, so I don't know what you do about that.
Well, the eye wash is concerning too.
Well, the eye wash should be good, that's a plumbing thing, you could probably add an eye wash in there. Usually we're not playing with chemicals, so it's never been, we have wash sinks, but.
I mean, fire, I mean,
Sure.
what do they do, what do people do after battling a fire? Do they do eyewear or?
Well, you have, SCBA, which keeps, contaminants. If you're in an environment that's dangerous for life, health, IDLH environment, then you're in protective gear, which includes SCBA, full turnout gear, and it has moisture barriers. But, the big carcinogen thing is huge for equipment. I mean, it used to be, I always brought my gear home and it sat where my kids played with it, and it made my house smell like smoke, and it was cool. Now it's not cool, because they say don't even keep your gear in your vehicle. So.
Well, the big question is, do we, we know that it's not up to code. So the question is, I kind of still agree with Charlie. Let's just wait a little bit and see. I'm hoping we get a feasibility study going, we identify some potentials, and we move forward. I mean,
I guess my thought is that because it doesn't, I don't think it would impact us dramatically. I don't think they're going to say, oh, shut it down, can't use it. I mean, I think it'd be more a matter of, fix some electrical stuff, maybe put eye wash in. I think the ventilation, but some of the ventilation stuff is inexpensive enough, and if you could potentially find something that you really could reuse into a new facility. So 6 o'clock, Tom. Then for safety of the, even if it was minimal costs, is it something we put into the building and at least make a plan for? Because if we're not, this building committee has been around, so it wouldn't surprise me to see the senior center move forward before the building, we get a building.
well, we're just fortunate to get a donation. That's part of it.
Yeah. But, and it's, so it's a tough go, because it's something, if we're not gonna see a building, if we're just spinning wheels again, I would like to see exhaust extraction in the building.
Yeah.
So if they identified some stuff and they said, hey, you gotta have a plan for it, but looking at this here, it's not dramatic, it's nothing that's gonna, throw the town under the bus.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
What I'm wondering is why, we know, many of the deficiencies there. What would be the reason for having OSHA come in and identify them? Why not you, as department head, just requesting funds to make some of these improvements that you know need to be made? I guess I'm not quite understanding what the purpose of actually calling OSHA in is. You've identified the shortfalls.
If as a committee, we're looking to present stuff that would bring it to the townspeople's attention that work really does need to be done. It's one thing to say, yeah, it's an old station, we need to do, a bunch of stuff. It's another, it gives it more credence if OSHA comes in and says, hey, you've got to spend some money to do whatever, and then we get a list of those things. And it's not just out of my head, because people are going to look at me as self-serving, wanting a new building, which, yes, I'd like
I don't think anyone
building,
actually thinks.
but you know what I'm saying. I mean, I think it just adds validity. It doesn't put the town at any major disadvantage, and I think it could help the direction that this group is trying to move in.
So I think there's two sides to that. I agree with you that if we have something that says OSHA has this list, they did an inspection, it definitely lends more
Credence.
Yeah, exactly. And then that could be used in two ways, to get the funding to make those changes, or to be used in comparison to a new facility. Okay, a new facility is $10 million, but we have at least $1 million just for the fire department that would need to be brought up to, but then.
It'll even be that much.
No, I'm just saying that there's, you also do the estimate a little differently. I mean, if you're gonna do everything versus just the bare minimum, and if we're gonna do it instead of a new facility, maybe you do everything, or if it's just the bare minimum, you know what I mean? There's different ways you could look at that list, I'm sure. I think that we'd run into a problem if we put it before the town to do, $100,000 worth of work, which still feels like kind of a lot of money, but I'm sure we'd be talking a bunch of electrical, HVAC, and then 2 years later, hopefully sooner than that, 12 months later, we want a whole new facility. I think we could end up in a pickle.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we had a plan with the labor folks, the OSHA, I think if we said, you know, we're looking at a new facility, we're gonna knock off some of these within a 12-month period or a 2-year period even, I don't think that, I think if we made something like a 5-year plan, and some of it you might do sooner than later, but I think the stuff that you do sooner than later, like the exhaust extraction stuff, I don't think it's gonna be as much money, it's not gonna be $1 million.
Right.
It's not, my guess, it'll probably be under $30,000, which honestly, like you said, that would be a good thing to do for the folks that are working there. You know, if there was a potential for reuse, then you could sell that on a capital meeting as, you know, hey, this is for the good and welfare, it's something we can reuse, it meets OSHA, it shows OSHA that we're doing some of the major things right away, which we really should do.
Yeah, I don't disagree. So, I mean, we could, what we're doing first by, if you called for this inspection, is getting more information.
Yeah.
The question is if it puts us in a position where we then have to act. I mean, I read this, this thing in the link that you said, and, you know, it's interesting because it says it's all confidential, but then it does say your only obligation will be to agree to correct all serious safety and health hazards in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Which, if they're serious safety and health,
Then we should
be corrected. I don't know, I guess.
Would they, you know, alter their idea of timely manner if they knew we were building a new fire station?
My guess is that they would. My guess is if we wrote a 5-year plan, and if we don't build a station in 5 years, shame on us.
Oh, I agree.
You know?
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
at some point, how long do we keep kicking this down the road because we didn't get funding, or, you know, somebody thinks Taj Mahal, my guess is we could easily spend more on a barn building than we would have if we built it a couple of years ago, what they considered Taj Mahal, because it had brick frontage, you know? I think at some point we just need to do our best to really make this go forward. I think that this helps to do that, and it protects the folks that are over there.
Yeah, I think that, I agree with what Charlie said. We wait 6 months, we see, you know, are we on track to get a feasibility study? You know, we're going to, you know, you're going to do the video with Easthampton Media. I honestly think that if anybody in town doesn't think we need a new fire station, then they're living in the, you know, the woods somewhere. I think the issue is location and price. I really do feel like those are the issues. So if we can keep moving at a faster clip and, you know, go back and identify some possible lands and then get a feasibility study done, I think I'm more hopeful, I think, than I have been.
But is there a reason not to have something that says when we're going to the town, OSHA has said there's all these issues with our existing building?
I think that.
Well, Ed spoke up, from what I understand.
Yeah, the last meeting, yeah.
Yeah, he has reasons, so I think, I don't know, I would like to hear from him what his hesitations are. I suspect
I think he's very risk averse. I think there's liability involved,
That's what I
and
was gonna say,
obviously
it
with
must
that
be
comes
liability.
funding.
But if there's liability involved, that's even more the reason to do it. Because ignorance does not make you,
Isn't making you safer just because you
doesn't
don't
make
know.
you safer, or doesn't insulate you from liability.
But I would need to think about this more. I really don't know.
If you work there, you might not have to think about
No,
it.
well, what I'm saying, Chief, is that if we dump $1 million into that building, or
I should
even
have thrown out that number. I
500,000.
didn't mean anything by that
Let's
number.
say $300,000.
Let's talk about $50,000. Is that a reasonable?
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
And neither do I, especially, but I don't think it's as cost prohibitive. I mean, if you look at the list that I put out, the only thing that is really cost prohibitive is, you know.
Because I think the fact of the matter is they're gonna come back with a report, and if there's anything that they wouldn't allow us to wait 3 years on, people shouldn't be working in the building with it.
That's my
And
point.
there's nothing, like Christina said, preventing you from
Yeah, I mean,
submitting
I
a
could certainly do
capital
some of that
request
now.
or
I mean,
something.
you know, I mean, honestly, it's probably, you know, my fault that I haven't taken stronger action. I've mentioned it at selectmen's meetings, but there's changes in select board, select board.
Mm.
But, to keep putting it down the road, waiting another 6 months, I mean, it becomes pretty relative. And I think that if there is something so egregious that people shouldn't be working there, then we should be looking at it.
Well, I definitely urge you to start attending, make the request.
Okay, it's easier if I have OSHA backing. I mean, I can make a request.
Can we just bring it up at the next meeting when
Sure,
Ed's
yeah,
back
that's
and he
fine.
can speak to
Whichever.
what his hesitation
Yeah, because
was?
when I spoke to Ed afterwards, he said, which is exactly what I found out with the list, that it's more like electrical issues,
Yeah,
just the silly things. I mean, honestly, electrical panels is a hard one, because where do you park trucks? The wet floors is a hard one, because what do you do with that?
Right.
So really, the only thing on the list of any consequence is really the exhaust extraction.
right,
And exhaust extraction is not $1 million.
yeah.
I would ask for it immediately. Can that even go on this town
Yeah.
meeting? I mean, you might as well make the request and just get going on
I
it
can't
rather
even
than.
fund the ambulance expenses, so,
Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to.
I
Well,
know.
I think the other
Knowledgeable
thing
enough
is, the
to-
last time this came up, not only was the price tag higher than people were willing to spend, also there was a huge barrier with the historical commission. I understand a lot of the, that had to be accommodated. And what I heard tonight is that the historical commission voted to not get in the way of the entire building being demolished.
Yep.
So I think that's an important thing too that's different this time
So
around.
that'll help us move.
I mean, I
forward.
wasn't part of it last time, but I do understand that historical played a huge role in wanting that to be retained in some way.
Yeah, and I
But you had
know
to
we tried
build-
to accommodate, because I sat in historic districts in Belchertown, I'm still a lifetime member. We tried to accommodate the look of the town with a brick facade.
Mhm.
I know that there were some things we were trying to do to make it so it's a beautiful town that we live in and work in. But I know that added some costs, and I think that's where it got dubbed the Taj Mahal. And it's unfortunate, because if you're, taking off a brick facade, I think that, a Butler building would be more than happy. I don't think any of the chief prior, or now, it's really just,
It's practical.
yeah, space and practical. So, yes, I can move forward without OSHA, but I guess my thing is, because I don't see anything so egregious, sort of, if we bring them in and we do it, we can talk about it next time. But if we bring them in and do it, if there's anything that's so egregious that they couldn't wait 3 years for, then it really should be done. And whether I start to move forward on the $50,000 repair, or whether OSHA, it would help me to have the OSHA, come in, just to get through for the town, to say I'm looking for, 30 to 50,000 for exhaust scrubbers.
John, did you research this? Did you have discussion with anybody there? Was it just what you found on the website?
Yeah, I was staying away from the OSHA just because I don't want to open that can of worms until we've really discussed it here as a group. But as you can tell, I feel pretty much like, I have a duty to the men and women that work at that station to do something. And as you had said, I probably should have done something before. And so that sits with me as well. So I feel like, OSHA would help me to put this all forward. I don't see anything so egregious, it won't be $1 million. I mean, really, my guess is it'll be 50,000 at most. And I think it would help the direction that this committee is trying to go in, which is, hey, we've got another thing saying that,
Yeah. Sorry, it's just,
no, it's okay.
husband was wanting to make my son dinner. So one thing I noticed in here that, and we don't have to make a decision on this today, but it does say that you can request a comprehensive wall-to-wall safety and health on-site consultation, or may limit the site visit to specific operations. So, I don't know, it just seems like it says, if you contact our office, we'll be glad to assist you in any safety or health-related matter. So I don't know if there's an option there to get some, like a consultation on, say, you want the HVAC or the,
Yeah.
system, if you want to get,
We've updated our heating system. I've added electrics because everything was all one circuit, so we've added circuits on. There's like, probably mice in the building, which is almost impossible to get rid of. I mean, there's, rugs that should be changed. I think there's some things that, the building needs, but I really don't think they're gonna be astronomical. I don't think they would be so cost prohibitive. I know that the town hasn't had money since I've been here. You know, every year has been a level funded year. So it's hard to ask for money.
So my only thing with this conversation, I think that, two thoughts. Number one, I do think we should try and, for tonight, wrap up, but in general, focus on trying to move forward the new facility. But I think the other thing is, it sounds like, in terms of this, I mean, Chief Workman, it's kind of your decision. Is that, I don't know who makes the decision to call on this.
I think he and Ed, I guess. I mean,
Well, I'd like input, because ideally, it'd be
Yeah.
nice to have the backing of
yeah,
select board. I mean, I don't want to be looked at as the whistleblower who doesn't want to work with other departments in the town, you know? I mean, I think that there's a big push here to work together and bring people in and let's sit at the table and like figure out the right, I'm going to advocate my point,
Yeah.
you know, for the safety, but I do want to work with the town. I do want to, you know, be, you know, realistic as to, I mean, if I thought it was going to be $1 million, then that's a tougher, you know, I'd maybe tackle like a exhaust extraction if I could. But I don't think it will be $1 million. I really don't. I think we're talking $50,000.
I just want to be clear about what the outcome of it would be, and do we, you know, is that something that would be helpful to us, or that would be something that would be harmful to us, that's all. So I just, you know, you're right though, I mean, I think that's, I don't know whose authority it is, to be honest with you, and maybe it is something that you're able to request.
I think
I just don't think that the people in this town have any question about whether or not we need to have a new public safety. I
Yeah.
mean, I know 5 years ago, when I was running for select for the first time, I basically, that was the number one thing.
Yeah.
It's shifted a little bit, now the number one thing seems to be the greenway, but I don't think there's people that, I don't think anyone thinks that you're fine where you are.
Yeah, police or fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I personally, and I think you're exactly right. I think it's, will it be helpful or not?
Yeah.
You know, my opinion is that it would be helpful. I don't see it as overly expensive cost for the town. I think, you know, if we wrote something that said for 3 years, I think the only time where it might be more money is if we had to do, you know, that if we were never going to move.
Yeah.
So I think if we did something within 3 years, that'd be, that's a lot of time to do it, I think, and I think it's beneficial also because if we don't do it, we need to do it within 3 years. If we're gonna stay in the same building.
Did you talk to other towns? I think that was one of the things.
Yeah, I couldn't find
had it?
anybody that had brought them in. I got some people that had gone through this list
Yeah.
and identified, and Ed had confirmed, he had talked to some people, that it was mostly like the silly stuff, the electrical panels, you know, some of the, you know, what do you...
But no one you know...
I mean, I test my ladders every year, I test
Okay.
my SCBA, I do, you know, the inspections on trucks, I mean, all that stuff, which wasn't done prior to my arrival, is now being done on a yearly basis. So the real safety things, I'm pretty well in line with.
What right now is that, what would you consider the most significant safety issue for your personnel?
Would be the exhaust extraction.
So-
Yeah, because everything else on the list that I read down for you, I mean, mostly we're talking electrical.
I would, like, we'll discuss it with the next meeting probably, but like,
Yeah.
maybe we put that, if that's the issue, then we have a very short time frame.
Yeah.
And then if we don't meet that deadline, then you should be doing
Yeah.
something about that exhaust.
Yeah. I agree.
But also, in the meantime, you could be getting some prices to actually...
Yeah, if I'm the only one there, that's, and.
But
I
you will
certainly
be
could.
even if OSHA comes in. I'm saying, if you do want to move forward, then there's steps you're going to have to take.
Mhm.
And I don't see, I mean, if OSHA says it or whether you take the initiative to do it yourself, you're still going to have to get some quotes.
It would be nice to know that what I'm taking steps towards would meet OSHA's standard. I don't want to go
Yeah.
over OSHA standards and do something more money than OSHA would require, nor do I want to do it just a shade less than I'd have to do it over again. So,
Well, let's just talk about it next time, and then maybe we can see what Ed's reservation was about it, and I know it's probably has to do with risk aversion, but maybe if it's not a situation that's gonna put us in
break
jeopardy
the
that
bank, I don't
way.
think it's going to break that.
I think more liability his concern, not so much money.
Yeah.
Can I just mention for the minutes that I wrote a letter to both, and I encourage you to look up this bill. It's Senate Bill S2125, and it's an act relative to the creation of a Massachusetts Board of Public Safety Building Authority, similar to the School Building Authority, where you end up on a list of getting funds in order to build your school building. This is going to be an act relative to creating a Mass Board of Public Safety Building, so that there'll be a list based on priority, and so I wrote to Bielis and Pease, our Senate and Senator and Representative, asking them to support.
I
Yeah.
think what would be helpful too is maybe have them come down for a site visit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great idea.
So that see,
Yeah.
in particular, the fire department, you know, that
Right.
would be, because I think they can really recognize the issues, and they might be able to put us on a
And
priority.
he's
Yeah.
been very responsive. I mean, I've sat and had coffee with him,
Yeah.
he's just really responsive.
Which one?
John.
Bielis? Yeah.
Bielis.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
I
Kelly
think-
Pease is our new representative
Yeah,
because
I
of the
know.
redistricting, so he's
Yeah.
not as familiar, but he did come to the select board and introduced himself.
Yeah.
Lindsay
I
wrote
know.
right back, though.
I know, Lindsay's been great.
Yeah, Lindsay wrote right back and said, I'm on it, I'm gonna.
She's come to the Christmas party.
Yeah, yeah,
We've
yeah.
had Santa there,
Yeah,
but,
Yeah, but I think if they had a site visit, they would
Yeah.
be able to,
yeah.
it's good to see what you're advocating for.
right, that's a good idea.
So, Rini, just for the minutes, you wrote
It's Senate Bill
letters to-
212,
Yeah, can you send that out?
2125, yeah,
That would be good.
S2125?
yes.
Okay,
And it's an
okay.
act relative to the creation of the Massachusetts Board of Public Safety Building Authority.
You can send that
I'll
to
send
me,
it to
right? Thanks. So this would put us on a list.
Well, it would create the similar thing that happens already in the state for school building. They will have a list of who's next to get funding based on,
Okay.
I would hope
So
need.
when you send me the act,
Yeah.
you'll also just give me a bit of a description
Yeah.
of what I should put
Yeah.
in the minutes, okay. And so, right, okay, so.
That's good. Okay, so I guess we're tabling this one, is the answer. Okay, just to, subcommittee reports, I know that the Historical Commission, I think this would be a time just to do a quick report, and you kind of briefly said that.
Don, do you want to report on our vote?
I don't have anything, I didn't bring my notes or check my notes before I came down here, I don't want to say anything.
Okay, so
Correct.
the Historical Commission voted at our last meeting in March, and that was the day after, 2 meetings ago, to not impose a demolition delay on the building. It was a unanimous vote to not consider that of significant historic value, because of its altered condition.
Okay, so that will impact that property here.
Right, but
Rebuilding.
not the Old Town Hall. It was just the fire station.
Just the fire station, yes. No, there was no action taken on the Old Town Hall because that's not germane to a new safety complex.
Okay. Any other subcommittee reports? Other items not on the agenda? I think we're probably good to wrap up. Schedule our next meeting. I just, since we went over 3 weeks now, I just have them every 2 weeks again, and if we have another Monday holiday, we can talk about what to do, but
Okay,
I
well,
don't-
we will be having one. I don't know where
Memorial Day, I don't know if we
hits,
hit
but-
Memorial Day.
But at any rate, 2 weeks is what? 9th,
Yeah.
May 9th, I think.
May 9th, oh, so then we'll be the 23rd, so that's good, we'll go
Jump
the
over
23rd, we
Memorial
jump
Day.
over Memorial Day, which is just to avoid another 3-week, whatever.
Right.
Um,
So next meeting is May 9th.
Same time, same place.
Bat station. It's too old for you, huh?
What's that?
That same bat station.
Oh, my
Bat-
goodness. Same bat channel?
Same
Not too
bat-
old me.
Are you going to adjourn us?
Yeah, and can I have a motion to adjourn? Just trying to find my thing to stop recording.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all right. All in
Thanks,
favor of
everybody.
adjourn? Aye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Do we need to hold on?
No, it was like that when I came in. Anybody know how I stop recording?
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.